Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here today with you and share the latest edition of our TV Observatory. The Eutelsat TV Observatory, it's a market research tool that measures TV reception trends with consumers in 51 countries, spanning from Europe to North Africa and all the way to the Middle East. And today we are here to share with you, I went a little bit too fast, sorry. We are here to share with you new analysis in 14 Arab countries. If you are live tweeting this event, I ask you kindly also to include the hashtag #ETLTVObs as well. So in terms of the methodology, the research relies on 10,000 face-to-face interviews with consumers that we have conducted this year between February and March 2016. We rely on market research firms Ipsos and TNS. We rely on their experienced network of viewers to talk to the consumers. And they ask them a lot of detailed questions, both some direct and some indirect, on the way consumers receive the TV channels in their homes. In terms of the scope, geographically, so we had already surveyed this area in 2013. It's about 14 countries. And then this year we updated 6 countries. They're the one in light blue that you see here, that account for 76% of the TV homes in the region. So it gives us a pretty good pulse of the change and of the shifts in trends. So one first key insight that we see is that this is a very vibrant region with demographic growth. We saw the number of homes growing since 2013, since our latest edition. We went from 60 million to 64.7 million throughout the 14 countries region. And then by consequence, also the number of TV homes has grown by 8% and includes, an overall park of 60.8 million. The percentage of TV ownership on average in the region is 94%, but with some countries, obviously, that peaks at 98 and 99%. Very mature markets. So when we look at the primary set ownership, and this is, again, it's aggregated averages throughout the region, we see that 53% of the TV homes are still equipped primarily with the tube, with the traditional tube. However, we see also a growing and an increasing and growing number of TV homes, 24.3 million, that are already equipped primarily with the latest generation's flat panels. And then there's a small percentage that is starting to have both. So we expect these numbers to reverse in our future editions. And now let's look at how the consumers are actually receiving the city signal. So what we see here is that when we compare data from our old edition in 2013, we see that satellite, it's still the primary TV reception mode. It reaches 56.1 million TV homes in the region, and it has grown by 6% from 52.7 in 2013. So it confirms itself as a really core digital infrastructure and the primary main TV reception mode. When we look at the other TV reception modes, we see that the exclusive analog terrestrial install base is slowly decreasing. There's an IPTV exclusive install base, which is growing. It has grown from 0.7 million to 1.4 million TV homes in the space of 3 years. However, these are primarily confined to the UAE and to Saudi Arabia. And then we also have DTT, which is slowly growing, but it's still a marginal TV reception mode from an exclusive standpoint, and it concerns mainly some of the Maghreb countries. So strong times for satellite, which is still the primary TV reception mode. And we see here the detailed situation country per country. So we see that it's extremely harmonious. The satellite is serving 9 homes out of 10. There's something that 9 homes out of 10 in most of the countries, with the exception of the UAE, where we see for the first time IPTV actually taking over and becoming the primary TV reception mode. But in all of the other countries, it's still the satellite, the main TV reception mode. So let's now look at how these satellite homes are being served. What are they receiving? You're certainly very familiar with the 7 and 8 West neighborhood, which is comprised of 3 satellites. There's Nilesat 201, Eutelsat 7 West A, and the Eutelsat 8 West B that was just launched over a year ago. And so when we look at their reach into the satellite homes, we see that the 7 and 8 West neighborhood confirms itself as the first position in the MENA region. The reach went from 49.7 to 52.3 homes. It's a growth of 7% in 3 years, and adding 2.4 million homes. So it's still the primary TV reception mode. And we see here all the different reach into each country. Of course, with Egypt being the largest TV market in the region, leading the way, with a very significant install base in every other market as well. Now, of course, the region is served also by other orbital positions as well, including the Hotbird at 13 degrees from Eutelsat. But when we look at the penetration into the satellite base, we see that really 7 and 8 West, on average, reaches 93% of the satellite homes. So 9 houses, 9 homes out of 10 of the satellite installed base are served by the 7 and 8 West neighborhood. And this is linked to obviously to the offer of the lineup. If we look at the lineup of this position, we see that it's extremely strong and unparalleled, with over 1,000 channels. It's actually 1,264 channels at Q3 2016, of which 44%, we're talking about over 500, they are exclusive. They're not available on any of the other positions. When we look at the split, the majority obviously are free-to-air, speak diverse free-to-air offer, but there's also like strong pay TV offer with 145 channels. And then with an increasing number of HD channels as well. There's 149 HD channels as of last broadcast and available from this position. Now, looking a little bit more closely at the HD TV market here in the MENA region. So we're seeing that there's real momentum, that the consumers are getting more and more equipped. In 2013, it was 27% of the consumers, or 44.4 million, were equipped with an HD TV set. And today, actually, this number has spiked up to 34%. Again, this is on average aggregated in the region. That's over 20 million. So there's a real trend shaping up. And this percentage is even higher among the satellite homes at 7 and 8 West. 46% of them are already equipped with at least an HD TV set. And the number of HD channels at this neighborhood, as I said, has spiked up by 36%. There were only 109 3 years ago. It's already 149 today. So growing actually much faster at general market rate. And speaking of HD, we also look already at the future. As you know better than me, the industry is already started talking about Ultra HD and 4K. There's several initiatives, several programs, and several demo channels that are starting to be available. So we asked a couple of questions as well in this region. We found out that 50% of the consumers that participated in our surveys were aware of Ultra HD, as CE manufacturers are starting to make the new generation screens available. This is really driving awareness among the consumers. 7.5 million homes intend to purchase an Ultra HD or 4K TV set in the next 12 months. So there's a future-proofing desire when it comes to image quality. And then we also know from GfK that as of between 2013 and 2015, there were already 1.2 million TV sets, Ultra HD 4K, that have been already sold in the region. So there's a real momentum which is being starting. So this concludes my presentation. I thank you very much for your attention. I'm happy to take questions now or later on during the coffee break. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, very interesting data. Thank you very much, Ron Marcos from TV Interactive.
You mentioned that the growth in IPTV was largely in UAE and Saudi Arabia. I think I also saw about 4 million growth in satellite TV homes. I didn't see where that was.
It was actually spread pretty harmoniously among all the different countries, all the different markets. We really see, satellite as the primary TV reception mode. We last measured in 2013, and we saw that, pretty harmoniously throughout all the different countries. There's still TV homes equipping themselves.
Thank you.
No problem.
Hello, Hassan from Master Media. I saw that your research was about 7-8 West only. Have you done the main orbital position for more than 26
Yes.
for that?
Of course, we measure also the other orbital positions. We don't communicate publicly about the reach of our competitors. There's a sort of gentleman agreement, so each measure is its own. We're happy to discuss it if needed in commercial discussions, but we also think that we don't need to, in the sense that with the 7 and 8 West being really the #1 position, obviously there's a clear demarcation.
Anyone else for questions? Excellent. In that case, thank you so much, Claudia. That was a very nice presentation.
Thank you.